哪里古典意烧？應該啲成隻租出嚟嚟到一下，我會睇唔係都係用。
In this part of the course, we'll look at what social and digital media are, how using them can be linked to the workplace, and some of their benefits. To get started, let's explore some definitions and examples. Click on the app icons to open each application and reveal information about social and digital media and the workplace. Digital media is any content that can be transmitted or viewed electronically. Digital media can include text, audio, video, images, games, websites, including social media, and ebooks. Basically, anything that can be read by computers or other electronic devices can be considered digital media. Electronic communications are messages and other forms of communication that are delivered electronically from a sender to a recipient. Types of electronic communications that may be used by businesses and employees to communicate internally and externally include email, instant messaging, short message service, SMS, voice over internet protocol, VoIP, and multimedia messaging service, MMS. Social media can be described as web-based applications that enable people and businesses to connect, create, publish, and share information to themselves and the public at large. Social media services include social networking sites, for example, Facebook and LinkedIn, video and photo sharing sites, for example, Instagram and YouTube, microblogging sites, for example, Twitter, multimedia sharing apps, for example, Snapchat, organization-based microblogging sites, for example, Yammer and Caboodle, forums and discussion boards, and any other websites that allow individual users or organizations to use simple publishing tools. The scope of the workplace goes beyond the physical location that people attend for work. It can include any interaction that has an impact on work relationships or that is connected with the employment relationship. This includes electronic communications made or sent outside of the work environment. Acronyms and initialisms are commonly used in informal electronic communication, such as LOL to represent laugh out loud. These forms should be used with care, as they can often be misinterpreted and cause confusion. For clarity, they should be avoided in formal communications. The legal definition of the workplace includes more than just the physical location people attend and their regular work hours. It can include other spaces where there is a connection to work, such as work-paid social functions and company-sponsored sporting events. This means that even when you are not at the physical workplace or acting within your regular work hours, your posts or messages could still be considered inappropriate workplace behavior if there is a connection to work. When using social and digital media, the important question to ask is, does the interaction impact on work relationships? Communication between co-workers through electronic communication and social media can impact on work relationships, even if the electronic communication is made or sent outside of the work environment. Examples include emails sent between co-workers or groups that include co-workers sent to company email addresses, status updates and conversations on Facebook that can be viewed by anyone with access to the internet, or Facebook friends that include co-workers, blogs about work, and mobile phone text messages between co-workers. Let's explore a few examples. In this activity, you'll need to identify communications that, even if made outside of your workplace and working hours, could still be linked to the workplace. Click and drag each example onto the matching category. Correct options will remain, while incorrect selections will bounce back.
Audio တက်ချက်လို့ပါပဲနောက်မို့လို့ငါအိုးနေလုပ်ပြမှာမဟုတ်အော်ဟိုဘက်ကလည်းပြအောင်မပြဿနာအမေတာဒီနေ့ကမှလည်းမလို့
Well done. You have identified some examples of communications that could be connected to the workplace. While the other examples were not connected to the workplace, you should still examine your interactions carefully and avoid inappropriate behavior. Appropriate workplace use of social and digital media can have a range of benefits for both individuals and organizations. Click on each button to learn about some of these benefits. You must look at all of the topics listed here to complete this part of the course. Your employer or HR department can use social and digital media to efficiently communicate with staff and other stakeholders. You can build relationships with stakeholders, research industry trends, and share ideas. Digital media provides opportunities to find like-minded people, keep up to date with news and views, and promote yourself and your social events. Social and digital media can be used to advance your career. You can build a personal brand that communicates your skill set and achievements. Your employer can use social and digital media to develop and promote your organization's brand. Social and digital media is a great way for your business to connect with, engage, and attract customers, and run inexpensive and flexible campaigns. Your organization can research what competitors and customers are saying about them online. Your organization can find its next star performer online through sites such as at LinkedIn. Social and digital media provides you with an easy and convenient way to communicate with friends, family, and colleagues. You should now have a good understanding about what social and digital media and electronic communications are, how they can be linked to the workplace, and some of the benefits. Before we move on, you'll need to complete a short multiple choice assessment. You'll need to pass this assessment to complete the course. In this part of the course, we'll look at what social and digital media are, how using them can be linked to the workplace, and some of their benefits. To get started, let's explore some definitions and examples. Click on the digital media is any content that can be electronic communication. Social media can be described as the scope of the workplace. Acronyms and the legal definition of the workplace. Communication between. Let's explore a few examples. In this activity, communication between co-workers. Let's explore a few examples. In this done. You have identified some examples of communications that could be connected to the workplace. While the other examples were not connected to the workplace, you should still examine your interactions carefully and avoid inappropriate behavior. Appropriate workplace use of social and digital media can have your employer or you can digital social and digital media. You should now have a good understanding. In this part of the course, we'll look at what's considered appropriate and inappropriate behavior when your use of social and digital media can be connected to the workplace, and some of the policies and legislation that apply. Some elements of what's considered appropriate behavior when using social media will be different depending on your employer. For example, while some employers allow employees to access YouTube when they are not busy, others may not even allow personal emails. You should check with your supervisor and refer to your employer's policies and procedures to find out what is permitted in your workplace. While your workplace may allow and even encourage the use of social media, this is usually a privilege and you should consider limiting the time you spend using it. Excessive use of social media could damage your productivity and reputation and may cause your employer and colleagues to think of you as a time waster. In a survey of more than 2,000 executives, recruitment firm Robert Half found that non-work-related internet use was considered the main cause of time wasting in the office. As well as policies and procedures, your contract of employment and state and federal legislation indicate inappropriate behavior you should avoid. Relevant case law can also provide guidance on the standards of behavior expected in the workplace. State and federal legislation and relevant case law also apply to the use of social and digital media when there is a connection to your workplace and cover areas that include employee misconduct and serious misconduct, bullying and harassment, discrimination, victimization, work health and safety, terms and conditions of employment, including employee and employer duties, duty of care, confidentiality, and privacy. Examples of inappropriate behavior that may breach workplace legislation or policies include communications that use abusive, derogatory, racist, sexist, or offensive language. For example, messages or posts that denigrate, embarrass, or humiliate someone. Messages or posts that contain material that denigrates, embarrasses, or humiliates someone where the material may not have been created by the sender. And messages or posts that threaten the health and safety of co-workers. You work for a retail business and there have been several errors with your pay. When it happens again, you wait until after work and blow off steam by typing an angry post on your home computer. You block the person who normally does your pay, but other work colleagues will be able to see the message. Click on Post if you think this message is appropriate, or Cancel to clear the message. Click on the social media policy if you're not sure. The organization you are working for in this scenario has a social media policy that includes an indication that employees must be polite and professional and not use abusive language when communicating with customers, suppliers, and other staff. That's right. Workplace legislation and the organization's policies prohibit this type of inappropriate behavior. Such behavior may be connected to the workplace because co-workers are able to see the post. Cases involving inappropriate Facebook posts have previously led to the dismissal of the worker making the post, with the dismissal being upheld by the Fair Work Commission. The best course of action would be to avoid typing this type of message in the first place. Examples of inappropriate behavior that you work for a retail business and there have been several errors with your pay. When it happens again, sorry, that's not right. Workplace legislation and the organization's policies prohibit this type of inappropriate behavior. Such behavior may be connected to the workplace because co-workers are able to see the post. Cases involving inappropriate Facebook posts have previously led to the dismissal of the worker making the post, with the dismissal being upheld by the Fair Work Commission. The best course of action would be to avoid typing this type of message in the first place. In addition to inappropriate messages and posts, there are also certain types of communications that may be inappropriate for sending, storing, or displaying in the workplace. These include pornographic images or videos, audio, video, or image files that contain or show inappropriate content or comments, and email messages or message chains containing inappropriate jokes or comments. This type of material is sometimes labeled as NSFW, which is a warning that it is not safe for work and should be avoided. The technology you use does not have to be owned or controlled by your employer for there to be a link to work. For example, using a personal email account to send someone at work inappropriate content, attachments, or links would be connected to work. And displaying pornographic material on your personal mobile phone at work to a co-worker would be inappropriate workplace behavior. Posts or messages sent in your personal life can be inappropriate workplace behavior. You are working for an employer who allows employees to send and receive personal email on their work accounts. While checking your email during a break, you see a message from one of your friends inviting you to a new restaurant. Click on Reply if this message is appropriate for this workplace, or Delete to remove it. Based on the organization's policy, deleting the message is not necessary. This type of message would be safe to read and reply to in these circumstances. However, deleting messages like this may help you avoid overusing this type of privilege, particularly if it starts to affect your productivity. You should also consider whether your organization has different expectations regarding the sending and receiving of personal emails. While working for the same employer and reading your email on a break, you receive a message from another one of your friends with the subject NSFW. You have to watch this now. The message has a link to a video, but you can't tell what it's about. Click on Reply if this message is appropriate for the workplace. Download if it would be safer to look at it later, or Delete to remove it. That's right, deleting the message is the best option in the circumstances. NSFW typically means not safe for work, and downloading or distributing the material could be considered inappropriate workplace behavior. You should also check your organization's social media policy to find out if there are other steps you should take. Another area of law that applies to social and digital media is defamation. Defamation involves the publication of material that defames another person. Material published online may constitute defamation if it is likely to cause an ordinary and reasonable person to think less of a person or to shun and avoid a person. Under the legislation, a claim of defamation may be established if there was a publication of material, the published material identified the person being defamed, and the published material was defamatory in nature. In regard to defamation on the internet, publication to one person online satisfies the publication requirement to establish defamation. You should now have a good understanding of what's considered appropriate and inappropriate behavior when your use of social and digital media can be linked to the workplace, and some of the policies and legislation that apply. Before we move on, you'll need to complete a short multiple choice assessment. You'll need to pass this assessment to complete the course.
Miệng rồi. Roma gibi değil mi? Cái này tông mình hộp nó mang trong cả khu cái này tông mình
In this part of the course, we'll look at some of the... While you should always try to avoid inappropriate behavior, the nature of inappropriate behavior using social and inappropriate behavior through inappropriate behavior, as well as creating the Fair Work Committee. Knowing what's expected of you from your employer and the legislation. Electronic communication. In this activity, you'll need to identify whether a situation includes indicators that you are ready to send a message, or if you should wait, check your message, and reconsider sending it. Click and drag each situation onto the matching category. You have identified some examples of when a message is likely to be ready to send, and some situations where it would be better to wait, check your message, and reconsider sending it. Your organization should provide guidelines for what to do if inappropriate workplace behavior using social and digital media is directed at you. You should know what is and what is not acceptable workplace behavior, who to talk to if you are being bullied or harassed, or if you witness another employee being bullied or harassed, and your company's policies, where to access them, and the complaint procedure. You should check with your supervisor if you're not sure. Don't rely on privacy settings. When using social and digital media, remember, if there is a link to work, your posts or messages may be considered inappropriate workplace behavior. NSFW means not safe for work, so don't click unless you are sure the contents are work appropriate. And don't rely on privacy settings. They are often complicated to use, and sites may change them regularly. It's a good idea to always assume anyone can see your posts. You may like to take some time to put together an action plan to help you avoid inappropriate use of social and digital media in relation to your workplace. In this part of the course, you can reflect on and list some of the ways you plan to avoid using social and digital media inappropriately. You will then be able to print them out for future reference or discuss them with your colleagues. Type your responses to each question or statement in the appropriate field. Click Save when you are happy with your responses. should now have a good understanding about some of the risks associated with inappropriate behavior using social and digital media, and some of the ways you can make sure you avoid them. Before we move on, you'll need to complete a short multiple choice assessment. You'll need to pass this assessment to complete the course. In this final section, we'll briefly summarize what you've learned. You should now have a good understanding of the following aspects. In this course, you had the option to create an action plan. You have not yet completed all of the requirements of this course. This may be because you haven't viewed all pages or completed all activities and assessments. You may need to return to the table of contents and check for sections you've met. In this final section, you should now have in this course, you had well done, you have successfully completed this course. When you return to your list of courses, this course will now be marked as complete. Remember, you can revisit the course at any time.